number 2 team in the country, Tennessee, goes down on the road in the O-Dome. You don't walk into the O-Dome and just expect to win. 67-54 was the final score. Colin Castleton played like a guy that was a fifth-year senior and an all-league caliber player. How about this, RC? Tennessee was the 10th different team to be ranked in the top 2 of the AP poll to lose this season, and that is already the most that we've ever seen in a single season. Top 2 teams in the AP poll to lose in the history of the AP poll. It just kind of tells you what this year is in college basketball.
We're not surprised. We're going to see it, and it's going to be a lot of upsets. But, let's be clear. We talked about this with Tennessee. They're prone to have these type of offensive struggles. It's in them. I mean, they didn't just shoot it well. This is a team that just doesn't shoot the basketball great. And you're not going to win any game shooting 27% from the floor and 20 from 3. They were 5 for 25. That was the only knock that I had with them. They're going to defend their ass off. They're as tough as any team in the league. Their Achilles heels is just shot making. And tonight they didn't make shots, and credit to Florida. The Gators got after them. They were a good defensive team and made it tough for them. But it's that's where the Tennessee team is vulnerable. If they can get some consistent shooting, then you'll have a hell of a time trying to. They'll be a tough out, but they just struggle like hell to make shots.
I mean, your senior guards, Vescovy and Josiah James, they go 4 for 25 and 1 for 11. I mean, you're 2 seniors. That we talk about Purdue's backcourt being 2 freshmen.
Yeah.
When you're a coach and you're ranked that high, and everywhere you go, people are going to be geared up for you, whether they're playing for anything or not. Like your senior guards have to set the tone. And, they didn't turn the ball over, and I think they defended well enough to win the game, but they've got to manufacture some points. They've got to be able to score the ball, or at least set up their teammates to score the ball. You go 4 for 25 on the road, 1 for 11. Doesn't really matter what you're ranked. And that's what hurt them tonight, in my opinion, Rob.
Yeah. It's just, they don't have a guy that is able to make stuff easy for everyone, right? Like you kind of have to scheme.
Kennedy Chandler's gone.
Yeah, Kennedy Chandler's not there. Julian Phillips, T.O. keeps telling me like he's the guy. Either he's not ready or Rick Barnes doesn't trust him yet. Whatever it is, we're just not seeing it from Julian Phillips yet. They changed, they switched their lineup. They moved the big kid Plavsic to the bench and put Zakai Ziegler back in the starting lineup and ran Olivier Kamwa at the 5. And for 3 or 4 games, it looked like it kind of changed things for him. And then boom, you shoot 27% from the floor in the O-Dome. It just, I don't know. I cannot personally, I know how good they are defensively. I just cannot trust that Tennessee team, RC.
I mean, we talked about it. You just don't know what you're going to get. And you can't go into a game hoping, and you said something, Chris, you can't go 4 for 25. But it isn't about the attempts that concerns me. It's just they're just not a good percentage shooting group of guys.
Right.
That's just not their strength. And if they can make shots and get out and get stops and get out in transition and score on you, that's a whole nother thing. And I thought maybe that was something they wanted to do, get out of that lineup change, maybe get a little smaller, maybe get a little more quicker to get out in transition. We getting stops and get out and run a little bit. And just wasn't the case tonight. It just didn't. It just had one of those nights. That's just the only knock that I had on this team. And tonight was one of those games. I'm not going to overreact like I'm down on them. They're still a great team, but they're flawed. And one of their flaws is just the ability to make shots. And that's going to hurt them, from making a deep run, I think, in March.
Yeah. RC is not going to overreact. I have no problem overreacting. They're frauds. Get Tennessee out of here.
No, absolutely no. I'm not going that far. Get out of here. Get out of here.
I will say this. Florida entered tonight as one of the next 4 out and are fielding the 68 bracketology show Mondays and Fridays, 5 p.m. streaming on the Field of 60 YouTube channel. Make sure you check that out. But they were 12-9 heading into tonight. They were 2-9 against top 50 teams against the top 2 quadrants. Their best win was on the road against Mississippi State, which is not a great win. Now they have a great win. They have good metrics. They don't have any bad losses. They need to kind of stockpile some of these like quad 1, quad 2 wins. But as of right now, they're probably a team that you're going to slide into the playing game, or at the very least. Right now,
how you going to be down on Tennessee and now they're in the tournament? They were 12-9 going into this game, and you're talking they're in the tournament. Get
That
out of here.
I think they are very much in the mix. They are very much in the conversation because what their profile is decent without anything at the top of it, without anything that to kind of pin and say that's what we're capable of doing. And now they just beat up they beat up RC's national title favorite, the Tennessee
Okay, so
Volunteers.
talk to me after they get through with Kentucky and Alabama.
Yeah, it might not be pretty.
Well, if they lose to them.
You're talking about I'm talking about right now. I'm living in the moment, RC.
Vandy,
I'm living in the moment,
Miss.
RC.
They got Vandy twice, Ole Miss, and Florida after that, and they play Kentucky again later in the year. But their next two games is Kentucky and Florida. Talk to me after that before we tournament. They need to win them two then we'll put them in.
Fair enough. All right. I want to talk about the ACC because there is a little budding rivalry that I'm fascinated by between the Pitt Panthers and the North Carolina Tar Heels. Pitt has officially swept North Carolina. They are a game and a half up on the Tar Heels in the ACC standings. They are a game out of first. To tell you how messed up the ACC is this season, Clemson, who just lost at BC, is still in first place, and Pitt, who just swept North Carolina, is sitting in third place in that league. I don't know what to make of this conference. I want to talk about this rivalry though, because there were some heated words from Jason Capel after the game. Jeff Capel kind of explained it as his brother was fired up about a trolling social media post from the North Carolina team. I have no idea what that's about, but I'll tell you this much. If we have Jeff Capel, Duke alum, coaching a Pitt team that is good, that has a passionate fan base, Chris, if they don't like each other, if they don't like North Carolina, I think that's a good thing for the ACC. Gets a little bit more attention, gets people paying attention. I love rivalries. I love when guys don't like each other. I think that's a good thing for the sport.
A little venomous for sure, and Jeff, he's not going to back down at all. And obviously, whatever was said in front of the public in the press conference, there's a backstory to it. Mm-hmm. I don't know it. I don't pretend to know it. I'm sure you can get on social media and try to figure out all the people that are speculating on the history of it. But obviously something isn't sitting right. And, if you've been in the league, if you've watched the league, if you followed the league, Jeff gets his teams to be nasty. And I say that with all due respect. If your kids do not compete, it's going to be a long night. They haven't had the most skilled players over the years. He's got a lot more skill on his team this year, but he had zero issues with their team being tough enough ever. And, I think that's something that any team that's going to beat them, they have to step up to the challenge. Carolina hasn't both times they've played them. I think Carolina's got bigger issues besides toughness. They're not very deep. They're not. Jalen Washington, hardly plays now. And when Baycott couldn't go a couple games ago, I thought he was terrific. And I think they need help in their backcourt. I think they need some guys off the bench that can spell RJ Davis, that can spell Caleb Love. Trying to win in any league with six guys just isn't going to cut it.